Crybaby.
All right, Kent, can you hear me?
Yes, Harry, just fine. Matter of fact, my headphones are too loud. Have we got a way to turn those down over there? No, I think it's on my end, the headphones, but okay, go ahead.
Kent, I'd like to discuss hydroplate theory a little bit.
Okay.
This is Walt Brown's
Yes.
idea. The Earth's crust once floated upon a thin layer of water, which was under great pressure. The crust began to crack, allowing water to come to the surface, and it shot out of the crust like fountains. And then basically it rained down. But I have to say there's no evidence of this apart from what's in the Bible. And Walt Brown seemed to make this his main objective, to make sure his theory is in accord with Genesis and the biblical flood, regardless of the conflicting evidence. And that's not science, because the rocks that makes up the Earth's crust, they don't float. The water would have been forced to the surface a long time before Noah's time, for example, if we're using the biblical time scale.
Slow down.
So
One topic
go
at a
ahead.
time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to comment on that?
Do you think there's water in the crust of the Earth right now? We have 3 wells on our property. We drilled down 300 feet and hit water. How did that happen? Why didn't it squeeze all that water out?
That's groundwater. And there's even subduction zones bring water down into the mantle. And so there's even a lot of water down in the mantle, but it's tied up in the composition of the rocks that it's part of. Like ringwoodite is an example of a rock that has water as part of its composition. But, in order for hydroplate theory to be true, the crust had to be absolutely impermeable to water before that. And the continents had to be floating. There had to be no earthquakes and no meteorites.
Well, before you pick on Walt Brown's theory, I think we have all kinds of vessels that float in the water or submerge under the water, submarines. The water can be kept out. There are impermeable materials, like the iron of a submarine. But Walt Brown's book, in the beginning, is really hard to find. If you can find one, good luck. But it's fabulous. I knew Walt Brown. It doesn't matter, though. See, you picking on Walt Brown's theory is not defending your theory of evolution. The topic of the program tonight is evolution is a dangerous religion. Prove me wrong. You can prove Walt Brown's theory wrong. It doesn't help you any. Evolution is the theory we need to be talking about. Do you believe, Crybaby, that you as a human being up here are related to a sunflower and a worm and, let's see, a spider and a ladybug?
Yeah, we have a common ancestor with all those.
You have a common ancestor with a ladybug. Okay. I don't think that's science. I think that's a silly religious belief.
My point is deep time exists. And
I disagree.
I'm not here to talk about evolution really tonight. We can talk about that another time. But what you're showing there is the Mid-Atlantic Ridge.
That's the program.
And the Mid-Atlantic Ridge.
Evolution.
Oh, okay. Well, then we don't have to talk anymore about. I just wanted to mention the inconsistencies in Walt Brown's theory, and that catastrophic plate tectonics is an impossibility. So we can move on.
Is it possible that the entire planet Earth fit in a dot smaller than a period on a page, like the textbook says?
That's a different question.
No,
altogether.
that's part of the evolution religion. You have to have the Earth come from somewhere. You have to have.
I'm just talking about the geology of the planet itself.
Well, okay. But you see, you're picking at a detail. You're straining at a gnat and swallowing a camel, is what Jesus said you're doing.
Well, not really, because plate tectonics takes a lot of time. These plates are moving slowly and gradually. And you mentioned magnetic reversals don't happen, but we've measured these reversals occurring, and that the seafloor is spreading. We have dates of new magma being created at the Mid-Atlantic Ridge and then spreading out from there. And in fact, Iceland is located on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. So we can date those all the way out, and the dates match on either side of the ridge. And so do the magnetic reversals match as well.
Listen, you're way off topic. Where's the evidence that the whole planet Earth fit in a dot smaller than, there you go, the origin of
Well,
evolution.
Kent, you were talking about magnetic reversals earlier. I thought that was the topic for tonight.
The topic tonight, somebody asked about the age of the Earth, and I said there are no magnetic reversals. There's stronger, weaker magnetism. How did the magnetic field reverse? It can't. You'd have to reverse the flow of the core inside. What's going to take the liquid core of the Earth and change the spin of it? It's a stronger and weaker magnetism. They had a graph of stronger, weaker, and they drew a line in the middle.
Well, we know we've measured, tiny magnetic minerals align with the magnetic field at the time that the lava solidifies, and they preserve like a tape recorder the direction of the Earth's magnetic field, whichever way it was pointing, normal or reversed. And
now, just keep in mind.
So we have a series of just let me finish here real quick.
Okay.
We have a series of symmetrical stripes on both sides of the ridges, and this pattern is impossible to explain if seafloor spreading didn't happen gradually. These positive and negative anomalies were measured by airplanes and boats using a magnetometer. Go ahead, Ken.
Now, do you believe this European Space Agency time began with a Big Bang? In a fraction of a second, the universe grew from smaller than a single atom to bigger than a galaxy. Do you believe the whole Earth was in that smaller than a single atom? That dot, we'll call it a dot. Do you believe all the material that's now planet Earth was in that dot?
I don't like the word dot. I mean, a dot is implying this is before space and time even existed. So you can't even talk about time or before or even something that has dimensions of space, because time and space did not exist. It was probably, pure energy at that point that turned to matter. But, I'm not a physicist.
Well, I'm just pointing out the textbooks are teaching our kids in school that the whole universe was fit in a dot, which would have to include the Earth. The Earth was in a dot smaller than a period on a page, along with all the stars and all the other planets. This isn't science. This isn't even common sense. It's laughable. And this is the European Space Agency saying this. The Big Bang. It's not science. Well, so the details on Walt Brown's book and the Hydroplate Theory.
We can talk about that another time.
No, I want to talk about it now because you want to strain at a gnat of Walt Brown's theory and the magnetic reversals, but
it's not straining at a gnat to it's not straining at a gnat to show that the Earth is billions of years old and all the lines of evidence that show that.
Well, you want to start with a planet, though.
You're saying deep time. You're saying time is our God as atheists, but we have that time. We've measured it. We've measured it on moon rocks. We've measured it in meteorites. We've even measured rocks on the Earth up to approximately 4 billion years. Of course, the crust recycles. We don't have rocks that are 4.5 billion years, but it's not straining it. Go ahead.
You keep saying we. Are you doing this? Or are you just reading somebody else's journal?
I'm a scientist, so I'm part of the scientific community. That's why I say we.
But here we go. National Pornographic Society said, when Earth formed 4.5 billion years ago, it was a uniform ball of hot rock. Do you believe that?
Yes.
Okay. Earth was at first, Earth was a ball of molten rock. Do you believe that?
I would suspect that was the way it was. I don't think,
All right, let's see. Earth formed, scientists believe, was a hot ball of rock, a hot ball of melted rock orbiting
I think
the sun.
it accreted from, different planetoids that then accreted together as, one body that we call the Earth. But so again, I'm not a cosmologist. I mostly deal with the geology of the planet that's happened since the formation of the Earth. But
okay, so to get the material to form the Earth, you would agree, I think there's a lot of material here. The Earth is pretty big.
Yes.
All that fit in a dot, or you don't like a dot. Okay, they say a singularity is smaller than an atom. That's really tiny. How are you going to do that? You see, all the rest of the evolution theory is meaningless until you guys explain that.
Well, I mean, you'd have to explain God.
No, see, that's I admit I have a religion. You don't admit you have a religion. You believe.
Right, but we admit that we don't know what happened. We only know what happened milliseconds after, or I don't know how small of a time after the Big Bang occurred.
You don't even know that.
But we don't know about the Big Bang itself. It's just like you don't know about God or his existence or what created God. It's a similar, except you won't say I don't know.
I've said it many times. I believe God has always, even the word always doesn't apply because he's not stuck in time. We're the ones that are stuck in time, not God. But see, you guys will not admit that you have a religious belief that matter created itself from nothing. At some point, there had to be nothing.
I don't think there's any such thing as nothing. I think matter and energy can come from each other. But I'm going to let you go. I know there's some more callers for you, Kent. But thank you. I appreciate you talking to me.
Anytime. Go ahead.
Take care.